and so forth. What I appreciate is that, as I understand it, that you wanted to get this documentary into schools as well. What's the plan for that?
Well, we've been working with some of the Links team to actually go into schools, Richmond Public Schools. So we've shown a few times in schools. We're also showing in churches. For people that can't come to the screenings, we just send them the video and say, look, share it with your friends, email it, whatever, enjoy it. You don't owe us any royalties. You have a license. And then we've worked with VPM, PBS to show it. So it'll be on, in our area on October 28th and November the 1st. So we wanted to make sure it was out before the election, just to help people to remember the sacrifices that give us the right to vote, and that they should vote. I mean, at the end of the day, you get to choose, and that's part of the beauty of being in our country, notwithstanding the fact that there are people who would effectively want to take that choice away. I mean, you said something earlier that the voter suppression is not new. And so when you have people that are misbehaving, even though they're the ones misbehaving, they say, oh, it must be fraud. And so because of the fraud, we're going to have poll watchers. We're going to have to, these people voted too many times, so we're going to have to make sure that you have some kind of ID. So instead of making it easier to vote, they tend to make it harder to vote. And so they claim to be Americans, but they do all this anti-American stuff. You know, it's fascinating to me. And then what's further fascinating is when I talk to people that I think have good sense, it's almost like they have to park or suspend reality to come up with some of these points of view. I mean, interesting statistic. So we've got the so-called blue states and red states, right? About 70-75% of the country's gross domestic product comes from the blue states. So that's 25% from the red states. The blue states overwhelmingly vote for leaders like Biden and Harris. The red states overwhelmingly vote for the other side. Guess which states have the most poverty, uneducated people, abortion, domestic violence? I could go on. Guess which one? The red states. So I'm a data guy, I'm a scientist, and an engineer and a lawyer. So I said, how could this be that so many people could just, actually pick people who are operating not in their interest? And I studied literacy. So it turns out the largest longitudinal study of literacy, there are two really powerful statistics. This comes out every 10 years. 2012, 2022 is the latest one. The next one will be 2032. Turns out that half of the country reads at an 8th grade level or less. More in the red states. And so when you think about where you were in the 8th grade, you aren't thinking high-minded policy and stuff like that. So the talk about politics and voting and things devolved down to, is it boxers or briefs? Will you eat at McDonald's? Can I have a beer with you? It's simple stuff. Guess who talks like an 8th grader? Okay. The other more startling statistic to me from that study is that only 2% of people in the world can understand a complex policy argument. So most of the time when people are talking policy, most people have no idea what they're talking about. So you're picking leaders based on what you, I guess, believe they're saying, and it's highly emotional. And most people don't do any fact checking. In a recent debate, a candidate told a straight out lie. Straight out lie. Fact checkers showed it later. Oh no, that wasn't the truth. the person claimed that under his running mate's administration, manufacturing jobs soared. And under Biden-Harris, manufacturing jobs tanked. But when you look at the facts, it's the other way around, the exact opposite. But because most people don't read, don't really explore beyond what their favorite politician says in a soundbite, they follow that stuff. And I'm telling y'all, vote how you vote, but
be honest about what you're voting for.
your children and your grandchildren